Proverbs 4:7. Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And in all your getting, get understanding. In all thy getting, get understanding. Verse 8 says, exhort her wisdom, and she will promote you. She will bring you honor when you embrace her. She will place on your head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory she will deliver to you. Verse 10, hear my son and receive my saying, and the years of your life will be many. I have taught you in the way of wisdom. I have led you in the right path. When you walk, your steps will not be hindered, and when you run, you will not stumble. Take firm hold of instruction. Do not let go. Keep her, for she's your life. Here the writer of Proverbs is telling us the value of wisdom and how the attainment of divine wisdom leads to a life of exaltation, promotion, a life of honor, a life of privilege and advantage, and how through wisdom our lives can be extended. The years of our life will be many. Our relevance will be consistent and constant. It tells us wisdom. The way of wisdom is the right path. I have taught you in the way of wisdom. It therefore gets our attention that there is a way of wisdom. And how do we find a way of wisdom so we may walk in the way of wisdom? Because knowing the way of wisdom is actually so important when we see the consequence and the deadly effect of foolishness, the life of folly. So wisdom becomes a longing in our heart that we want to know the way of wisdom. I want to be taught in the way of wisdom. It says when we walk in the way of wisdom, our steps will not be hindered. So paramount, when we walk in the way of wisdom, our steps will not be hindered. When we walk in the way of wisdom, when we run, we will not stumble. When we take firm hold of instruction and not let go, it becomes our life. Wisdom becomes our life. So the way of wisdom, how do we attain the way of wisdom? The way of wisdom is actually hidden in the commandment of Jehovah, rooted in the taking in of the Torah into our hearts. The Torah is the light and the lamp of Jehovah's people. In the attainment of wisdom lies a more profitable living. Wisdom is our defense. Wisdom is our protection. Wisdom is light in darkness. Wisdom helps us process and know and understand and walk in the path we are supposed to walk and think the thought we are supposed to think. Wisdom is actually a protective force and a force of exhortation. All of Jehovah's people were commanded to place wisdom as priority, and by placing wisdom as priority, it meant they pursued the book of the law, the Torah. They pursued the meditation in the Torah, meditation in the law of Jehovah day and night, because meditation in the law of Jehovah was actually the road into the gaining of divine wisdom. Wisdom is so profitable. Like I said, the greatest tragedy parents will face is to give birth to a foolish son. Now let me show you something here in Proverbs 10 verse 1. Proverbs 10:1. Proverbs 10:1. A wise son makes a glad father. A wise son. Proverbs 10 verse 1. A wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is a grief of his mother. Pathetic. A wise son, a son who attains unto wisdom, will make a glad father. In other words, he will make his father glad. He will put smile in the face of his parents. But the foolish son is a grief of his mother. Daily the mother looks through the window and she's expecting things to go wrong. It's either the police come knocking. It's either things keep going wrong. It's either the boy's in prison. It's either he drops out of school. It's either things keep going wrong when you have a foolish son. A foolish son is a grief of his mother. So if our sons and daughters, if we know this, if we begin to understand the value of divine wisdom, we must gain it and then help our children gain wisdom. Well, if your children fail to gain wisdom, they become your grief, your pain. Proverbs 14. Proverbs 14, I think, is it 14? 14. Okay, 17, should be 17. Proverbs 17. Now see what it says in Proverbs 17 verse 25. Proverbs 17 25. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her who bore him. Now look at verse 2 of that 17. And I'll show you something else in the same verse 17. That book is so loaded with the effect of folly. It says, a wise servant will rule over a son who causes shame. A foolish son is a son who causes shame. A wise servant. A servant who is an orphan, a servant who has no advantage, but he gains wisdom either by observing the folly of the son and says, no, see how folly has led this boy. And the servant begins to gain wisdom. It says a wise servant will rule over. He will take over. He will take the place, the estate, the property, the platform, the position of the son who is foolish. And we share an inheritance among the brothers. A wise servant will rule over a son who causes shame, and we share an inheritance. A wise servant, through wisdom, he's positioned to rule over the son and share an inheritance among the brothers. The awesomeness of pursuing a life of wisdom. We want to pray right now and ask the Father for wisdom. For wisdom. Wisdom for our sons and daughters. Wisdom for our sons and daughters. Wisdom gives you an advantage. Through wisdom, Joseph, a slave boy, had Potiphar, an official of Pharaoh, hand over his whole estate to the boy Joseph. Through wisdom, Pharaoh and all his officials handed over the whole of the operation of Egypt onto the hands of a wise slave boy. He was not coming out of Harvard. He was coming out of prison. Nobody asked him, what is wrong with you? What is your profile? Do you have a crime record? No, he comes out of prison with wisdom. And through the wisdom of Jehovah, the Bible shows us he took over Egypt. A wise servant will rule over his son who causes shame, and will share an inheritance among the brothers. I pray today, Jehovah will impart in our hearts supernatural wisdom that comes through his commandments. Look at verse 24. Can you read for me verse 24? Proverbs 17:24. So important. Wisdom so key.
Wisdom is before the face of the the understanding one, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth.
Paramount. It says wisdom is in the sight of him who has understanding. So wisdom actually leads us, helps us see what we are supposed to be and be doing, while the fool doesn't even know where his life is going. Wisdom helps you know the direction of your life. It's actually important we begin to esteem and highly value wisdom. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. We bless you.